Oh, 3, 2, 1. Yo, hello and welcome to YouTube channel. My name is Abdul Mojeed Sulayman and I got the famous yellow box from SBD. If you are based in the UK, and I think actually everywhere, well actually I think mostly UK because it's DHL, but you get the famous yellow box from SBD when I guess they recognize you as an athlete if you go international. So I figured I might as well do a SBD review as to all the kit I received inside my box and talk to you about it in case you're deciding to make your own purchase of SBD. You're wondering what the kit feels like, what the materials are like, or if you're trying to get a gift for someone. I figured you might well use this video. So we'll kick things off very quickly with the singlet. So the SBD singlet, I have the Phoenix range. And like you can see, I'm wearing the SBD shirt right now. The shirts are really nice, I rate them a lot. But the singlets are pretty good, great standard. So I come from the Strength Shop life. And this, like I think I've said this before previously in my video, this is a massive upgrade. It's a bit spenny, obviously. I think it cost about 60 quid, give or take, or 59 or something. And they're pricey, but they are worth it, and I can see this lasting for a long period of time. The Cygnets I definitely rate. In terms of sizing, if you're 105 person, or 105, basically if you're 105, I think extra large, depending on your shape and size. So I'm pretty lean on the 105 side, so I'm definitely should be when I have an extra large, but I think I should be in a large in terms of sizing. I think they also have a sizing guide on the website, but I think for the 105s they recommend extra large. I think if you're lean 105 or you're saying between that 93 to 100 kg range, medium or large will probably do well for you. If you're a bit on the chunky side, probably extra large might be your fit. In comparison to the Strength Shop one, I mean, it's miles apart. So this is the SBD singlet right here. I'll show you material. I don't know if you can tell much of a difference from it, but you can see the thickness of the material and whatnot. And then this is the Strength Shop singlet, which is pretty thin and fickle. Obviously they're miles apart in terms of cost, but the SBD one's a massive upgrade in comparison to doing a Strength Shop singlet. But these are nice entry-level powerlifting kit. I mean, feel free to compete in them. I used these for like years, but the SBD ones are miles ahead. And it's also worth mentioning that these are also comp standard regulated. So in the sense of if you have an SBD singlet, you're gonna have no issues turning up for your first competition or national competition, and they'll always qualify, like they always pass a kit check review. Now the second thing is the SBD shirt I received in my package. I basically have one shirt inside the packaging because I really like the packaging, and I'm currently wearing one of the shirts. The SBD shirts, most important thing is comp standard. So once you have one, you can use it for training, you can use it for competitions, you'll be fine irrespective. In terms of quality, I really like them, and they're probably a lot more rigid than your standard gym training shirt, because I have a very aggressive bench setup when I set up my bench, and I tend to destroy the neckline of majority of my shirts, unfortunately. These have actually held up against the aggressive setup I have on my bench, and they've actually lasted a lot longer. Main thing, they come standard, they do well, they look really nice in terms of color, and they also retain the quality factor really well too. And then we also have the deadlift socks. So I received quite a range of socks in my package, but the two main important ones are your deadlift sock and your sports socks, which I think that's what it's called. It's basically a standard level or standard normal socks. The deadlift socks are really nice. The socks in general, they're not a massive difference in comparison to just using like a standard sports or Adidas socks. The only thing I'll say is of notice is these have a ribbed bottom. So I will try, it's hard to see, but basically at the bottom it's kind of ribbed. So this is to prevent your foot from slipping inside the shoe. So I think this helps increase the amount of traction you can generate inside the shoe when you're wearing it. I think which would be good for deadlifts and maybe squats depending on the kind of shoes you have. But the deadlift socks standard, they're very nice, very comfortable, and they have the ribbed design at the bottom, which is to help prevent slippage or to help improve your friction inside the shoe when you're training. So in terms of the singlet, the shirt and the socks, they're pretty good standard. I also got a beanie, which is it's basically destroyed. Just a quick note, if you do get an SBD beanie, I don't know if this is for beanie in general, because this is the first time I ever tried washing my beanie, but don't put in the washing machine. Like, definitely do not. You do not want to put this in the washing machine. Mine is completely wrecked. I really liked it when I got it. It's a good head warmer in general, and especially during the winter period, this is key. But do not put in the washing machine because you will destroy yours very quickly. So we'll move on to the three. So we call it the singlet, the shirt, and the socks, which I think those are the three main things you need in terms of competition gear. But then we also have the belt, the knee sleeve, and the wrist wraps. So the SBD belt speaks for itself. This is the gold standard of belts in powerlifting as far as I'm concerned. It's a 30mm belt, 10mm thickness, I believe, and it is rigid. Like this, I've had this for, yeah, it's a heavy. So it's a lever belt in the sense of once you wear it, you kind of put it on and then you collapse this mechanism to close it. I've had this for about 2 years now, I think. I've had this for 2 years, and this should last you for your whole lifetime. So the two main things I'll probably say, so for example, a singlet from SBD, you probably buy one, unless you move up a weight class, you probably don't need to change a singlet. A belt, once you buy your first one, that should be it. I don't see any reason why you need to buy another belt once you have this. One thing I'd advise is if you are a lighter lifter, so in the 66 kg class or around there, or you have a very small waist, you might want to think twice about getting the SBD because it's a thick belt. And also if it's your first belt, you could cash out and get something like this, which is very thick and heavy duty, or you could just start nice and easy and then introduce yourself into something a lot thicker, because this is thick. And I didn't have any issues breaking this in, but you do hear people talk about taking quite a while to break it in and get used to it. I mean, I've still got like scabs and scars from when I first started using the SBD belt. It is IPF approved, and it is the thickest belt you're allowed to use in the IPF. In terms of benefits of this, it just gives you a larger circumference or material to brace against. So when you squat, it is thick, it is big, and it's hard. So especially in the squat, which is the main benefit you really see a belt like this in, is once you brace, you've got basically a wall surrounding you the whole time you're bracing. And once, like, you want something this rigid when you're going into a hole, obviously depending on your weight class. If you're a big boy, doesn't really matter. There are people like Ray Williams who squatted over 1,000 pounds when the SBD belt. They're tested, true and tested, and they're the gold standard. The next purchase that you will make from SBD that you potentially might only need to make once or maybe one every 2-3 years, depending on if you don't mind how much they stink up, it is your knee sleeves. Now the SBD knee sleeves are powerlifting approved also. These are also true and tested. If you have any issues, well, I mean, when a knee sleeve for knee stability is not the creepers, is not the key main reason, but this is just a nice way to bulletproof your knees when you're training heavy, especially on squats. They're nice quality, nice material. They do what they're supposed to do, protect your knees, keep you nice and good when you're squatting inside the hole. I wear size mediums. Now I've downgraded in size. My advice is when you're getting your first pair of knee sleeves, go with a comfortable size. So SBD has a sizing guide on their website, and I think if you are a 105 or if you're slightly on the heavier side, they normally recommend a large. I think they do the sizing based off the size of your knee joint. I'll probably say you want to look at the size of the calves. If you have thick calves, like I've got like decently thick calves, large will probably do for you. Doing anything like a medium or small you're playing with fire. Like, it's very risky. If you've got big big calves, it's not moving up there. If you've got small calves, you can choose whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. So one thing to take into context when you're buying your knee sleeve, or if you're trying to buy a tighter fit knee sleeve, because I've moved down in size, and there is a specific reason why that is, which I'm actually in another video. I think, well, very simply, smaller knee sleeve keeps your knees tighter, but that's not your main focus when you get your first pair or when you first start squatting. That's more if you advance and if you think you can get some benefit out of a tighter fit knee sleeve. There's a lot of discussion as to whether there's any benefit to that, so I'll probably just say go with what's comfortable and easy to fit on, and then once you progress a bit, you can get on something smaller. But in terms of putting on a smaller knee sleeve, I have noticed a bit more chafing or on my knees with a smaller one, so my skin's a lot drier and it's almost like, yeah, it's not nice down there. But you just want to be careful when you're going to a smaller knee sleeve. I've heard of people doing extra smalls, which is ridiculous, but I don't know how they do it. But mediums is as far as I'll push it. So you can push it if you want more, but I'll probably say mediums if you're kind of a big boy If you're in a 105, stick with your large, and if you want to be a bit risky, you maybe want to go down to mediums. Obviously, if you're in the 83, 74s, medium, small, depending on the size of your calves, you can play around with that. And then finally, we have the wrist straps. This is probably one people might not really understand very well on the SBD website because they have the flexible and the stiff. Now, the best way I can describe it is I have the flexible right here in my hand, so that's the flexible. Yeah, nice and loose. I'll probably recommend this, definitely recommend this for squats. You don't want to be using the stiff if you're squatting whatsoever. And also, if you notice, mine is pretty long actually, so I'll explain why that is. And then this is the stiff. Now stiff it's hard, like this is rock solid. This is almost like a wrap for your wrist. So there's the flexible and the stiff. If it's your first time coming from a typical standard gym wrist strap, I'll probably say go for the flexible because the stiff is harsh. Once you've gotten used to the flexible, you can maybe play around with the stiff. But if you're gonna for squats, I recommend the flexible. For bench, I would definitely recommend the stiff, depending on how you set up. So on the SBD website, they have small, medium, and large for their size referencing. Small is very short. I think you only use that if you've got a tiny wrist. I've got a decently sized wrist. I don't know what reference they use, but I use the long. So medium is basically what you get when you have your standard gym wrist strap. So that's just a standard length. It's probably about that long, give or take, so from there to there. And then your long is basically this. I'll probably say if you're gonna get an SBD wrist strap, probably go with the long. I think it's worth it long term. It's a lot more hassle wrapping up, but the security you get with the long is amazing. And once you go to the long from the standard, I think you prefer it. Oh, I preferred it. As soon as I used this long one, I was like, why the hell did I ever spend my money on getting the mediums? So for me, the flexible is definitely for squats. You can use this for bench if you want. If you don't want such a rigid wrist position, the stiff is definitely good for benching. I currently don't use any wrist straps when I bench, which is very funny. But you remember when I first tried the stiff ones, I really like the stiff ones. Yeah, it's an interesting situation with my whole bench right now. But stiff for bench, flexible for squats, or flexible for squats and bench. I don't know about using this for bench. Or actually, if you also want to use for deadlifts, you hear people using wrist straps to help improve the grip when they deadlift. I think definitely stiff will help with that, not flexible. So that pretty much covers the basics of the SBD review. If you want me to go into much detail about anything specifically, because there's obviously a lot to talk about the belt, especially knee sleeves maybe, or the singlet. If you want me to go into more details about any of these topics, please do let me know down in the comments. And if you have any questions, please do let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. I'll make another exclusive video on it separately. So thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. It's a quick one. It is late in the night, so it's a bit all over the place, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know, and then I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you.